crf150f. It's a good bike. These bikes are tough, unbelievably tough. The downside to the toughness is they're really heavy. For a small kid, my son had this, I say when he was about 10, and he rode it all right, but if he dropped it, he couldn't pick it up. I think they're 20, 30 pounds. Like I said, this was his. He started off on a 50, went to a 70, went to a 100, learned how to ride a clutch on a 100, and then I stepped him up to this 150, and there's quite a bit power difference between the 100 and the 150, maybe in the area of 4 or 5 horsepower. You can really notice it. Also comes with, like I said, the weight. I think the 100 was like 170 pounds. You could ride that thing through the woods like it was a bicycle. This one, you can feel it a little bit more. He stepped out of this bike and went into a KX100, and I decided to keep it because I've ridden just about everything there is, but I really like this bike. And one of the reasons I liked it was it's just so simple. Oil changes. It's a quart of oil. There's no filter. It takes all of 5 minutes. You just undo the bolt in the bottom, let the oil out, and put in a fresh quart of, I use the Honda. I think it's, I don't have a can over here. It's the GN4, I think it is, 1040. Air cleaner. You definitely want to get rid of the stock one. Save it, throw it in a bucket of soapy water and use it to wash your bike. Get a Twin Air, something else. Get some good spray for it, some PJ1 or Bel-Ray or something for the foam. Let's see, what else? The weaknesses of the bike. The suspension. It's a trail bike. I'm 170. I get it airborne. Pretty good. But, you're going to land hard. You might even bounce. If you're going to go big air, you want to touch down the back tire first. It's a little bit stronger in the rear than it is in the front. Kind of a different way of jumping, but whatever. If you're thinking about it, to mess around with, I really got no complaints. That's why I kept it. I ride this thing as hard as I had a YZ125. I ride this thing even harder than that because you have to make it rip. I just abuse the crap out of the clutch and it just takes it. It just doesn't even whimper. I've crashed this thing hard, hurt myself a couple times. Bike doesn't show anything. I did do the power up on the carburetor. And if you get one, you're probably going to want to do that because even if you don't want the more power, it makes the bike run a lot better. They're supposedly really lean from the factory. And the carb kits are cheap. The Jets, they're just a couple bucks. When you take the seat off, there's a plastic cover that's kind of covering up the airbox. You can just rip that thing out and throw it away. The carb is real easy. You can take the carb off. Just simply by unscrewing the rubber boots and pulling it out. And it comes with a 98 main in there. I went to a 115 and I went to a 42 on the Pilot or Slow Jet. And I got the adjustable needle because the one that was in it wasn't adjustable. It has like 4 slots for the clip. I think I'm in the 3rd one, but it's real easy to play around with if you got the wrong slot. It takes all 5 minutes to take it back out. That made a big difference. Not a big difference, but it did give it more power. And it runs now, starts up cold without the choke, and it runs a lot better. Now, when doing that too, you're going to want to do a little bit to the exhaust. I left the stock only because I know if I get an aftermarket, I'm going to have to repack it. There's no packing in this. But I did take the spark arrestor out, but I didn't remove it. All I did really was drill a couple holes. There's a cone on the one end of it. Drilled about 4 holes in that thing, about, 3/8 holes, just to let the air get by a little bit more. I'm not a fan of taking the whole thing out. I think you need some back pressure to have the engine run right. These guys that just pull the whole guts out of it, I don't think that's the right way to go. The yellow is just duct tape. Picked that up at Walmart. It was white underneath. I just was playing around one day, decided to see what it looked like. It took me 10 minutes to do a panel, and I left it. It looks pretty good. Spoke covers, $25. Really hard to put on. They're a pain in the butt to get on there, but they definitely changed the look of the bike a little bit. Let's see. The suspension on the front, you can take the caps off of the top, and you can put heavier oil in there, or you can put washers in there to shim them up, and that's what I did. I can't remember how many washers I put in there. It was probably about, 3/8 or 1/2 inch thick, just stacked washers, and then put them back on. That stiffened up the front a little bit. I'm not going to go spending $300 or $400 to put CR80 forks on it. I don't think it'd be worth it for what this bike is. But it is a lot of fun. I mean, I geared it down a little bit. I think it comes with a 13. I think mine came with a 1347 or 48. And I put a Sunstar aluminum on the rear. And I went down. I went to a 46. And I think the sprocket was like maybe $30, $35. And the reason I went down is because I knew I was going to go down in the front. And if I went down in the rear, if I wanted to put a bigger one on the front, I'd have more top end with a smaller in the rear. But what I did was, since the front sprockets are really cheap and really easy to swap out, I dropped a tooth. So I went to 12 in the front, 46 on the back. Top speed's probably about 44 maybe, but it dropped it down. It gets out of the hole a little bit quicker. You can actually do motocross starts on it. I mean, before it was kind of dopey out of the hole, but I think this was the best for me for the fit. But I mean, the front sprockets are like $12, and I think they go anywhere from, they might go from 12 to 15. So you got quite a range to play around with for fairly cheap. So the other thing is, keep an eye on your tire pressure. Play with that a lot, because since the suspension's not really adjustable, and don't be one of these guys that just cranks the crap out of the rear shock, because that is not the way to adjust the suspension. You do not want to crank that ring all the way down. Set the sag right. It doesn't make it any better if you tighten that thing all the way up. It just makes it handle really bad. So don't think that that's going to, if you're a kid, that's not going to solve your problems. Get somebody, get a tape measure, set your sag right, Google it, figure out how to do it. And like I said, tires and pressure are very, very important for this bike, since you're kind of limited to what you can do. I think I run 12 in the front and 11 in the rear, I think is what I'm at now, and that works pretty good. I like the Scorpion front. I forget what this thing's called. This is the second one I've had on it. What is it? Extra J. Anyway, that's a pretty good tire. I like that tire. I ride a lot of grass and sand and stuff, and that seems to hold pretty good. In the back I got a Bridgestone. It's an M404, and I like that tire too. That's a decent tire, and it wasn't too expensive. So what else we got? So I mean, it's a decent bike. It's a bike that you can buy for your kid like I did, and when they move up to something crazy, you keep it. And honestly, in the woods, it's not that much slower than his geared down. I mean, it's slower, of course, got half the horsepower, but it still does the job. I mean, you can still have fun with it. It's definitely not a, if you want to call it a girl bike or whatever. Hey, it's, it's whatever you have fun on, in my point of view. So I'd keep it, and I'm going to keep it. And if you're thinking about it, and if your kid's stepping up or wants to, learn a clutch, it's a good bike because you could ride it easy and give it to your, you know, grandma and let her putt around on it, or you could get on it and rip it hard and it's not too bad, so, other than the weight. So that's pretty much my take. Oh, I did do, because I'm taller, I did do some risers on it. I think they were, gosh, maybe they're 1.25 inches. I don't know, they're pretty tall. They were cheap too. And they got the bars up so that I can stand up and ride this thing now. I put some Pro Taper. I went with the CR High. I like these bars. They came this width. I kind of really wish I'd cut about a 1/2 inch off each end, but I left it the way it came. I got long arms anyway, so it's not a big deal. Put some pillow top grips on it. And get yourself some hand guards, especially if you're riding in the woods. I might put the crf150f front fender on. This one's a little bit scratched up, so I might do that replacement. I've heard that fits. But great bike, great bike. I honestly wish Honda would make one of these and make it street legal. I would gear it up, and I would ride this thing to work every day and have a blast doing it. Bring it home, change the gearing, and go out with my son and rip up the fields. So that's my take on it. Hope you enjoyed the video.